Danny watches a lot of television and movies. John does not. Listen in as she tells him about what she's watching, and he tries to make sense of it all. Welcome to Watching My Stories with Danny and John.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
We're back.
Yep.
I'm Danny.
And I'm John.
And this is still Watching My Stories.
Okay. Are you questioning it?
Well, we had talked we're going to change the name, and we are going to do that. I just haven't come up with anything yet. Right. But anyway, we've been gone, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I don't know. It feels like forever.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But I don't have a huge list. I have a decent list.
How is it even possible?
I'm sure we'll... Because there's a lot of things in process, not a lot of things that have finished, and I like to wait until things are finished to talk about them. But I am going to still talk about some stuff that I haven't yet that started. So anyway, so we're going to talk some movies, we're going to talk some TV, we're going to talk about Disney Plus, and then in the Actors Corner is Kristen Bell this week.
Yeah, which I actually can't believe we haven't done before.
I know, and it was so difficult. So
she's definitely a favorite in this house.
For sure. Okay, so we're going to kick it off then with Kristen Bell and Frozen 2.
Okay.
Dose.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so I saw this twice in the first weekend because it's that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have to add. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So, obviously, I think everyone, I don't know if you know or not, the original is one of my favorites. The music, the people in it. I loved the storyline in the first one, that it was these sisters and struggling to love each other, love themselves, and that the act of true love at the end was between the sisters, and it wasn't about a true love's kiss. You know, it was very it just worked, and it was great. And,
it was very healthy.
Right. And I've seen it countless times, and, you know, it just is.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
Yes, I was very excited to see this one, and I like this one better than the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will say this. While you were gone yesterday, or maybe in the shower, and I was out working in my office,
yeah.
I actually went and found this song, Into the Unknown, on YouTube, and I played it twice while you were in the shower. And I like it. I like it more than Let It Go.
For sure. And that's not the best song of the movie, in my opinion.
Okay.
So there's another one that Adina sings called Show Yourself. I've cried both times, and now I have the album, and I can't make it through without crying.
But you crying isn't a great barometer anymore.
I know, but it is insightful. It has so many meanings and connotations, and then here's my favorite.
Sorry.
He was like staring into space. I'm like, what are you doing?
I was staring at your t-shirt. I haven't seen you wear a Jeremy Bear Me t-shirt in a long time.
Well, good place. Kristen Bell. I'm wearing a shirt that we sell in another shop called Jeremy Bear Me.
I was actually just tracing the path with my eyes. I was like, ugh.
Anyway, so Show Yourself is an amazing Idina Menzel song, but then Kristen Bell has a great song after that. He's still staring at Jeremy Bear Me.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's called Do the Next Right Thing, or The Next Right Thing. And it's a amazing moment in the movie. It's a fantastic song. So here's the thing with the movie. It is way more mature than the first one. It's 6 years, and it's been 6 years since the first movie, and it is 6 years later in the movie as well, which is great. So the women have had these 6 years together. They've figured out life, in Arendelle, and how Elsa is ruling it. And the first song is kind of about that, about how things don't change. Some things never change. And it's kind of about all of their relationships, Kristoff and Olaf and Sven and all of them. And it's lovely. And then, but this movie, even though it's, they're settled and they've figured things out, it's still trying to figure them out too. Like Elsa still doesn't understand, where did I get these powers? Why am I like this? All of that sort of stuff. So it's still, even though it's a sequel, it's still an origin story, which doesn't happen very often. And it's just, look, first off, it's ridiculous how much I want every single costume in this movie. I'm watching an animated movie and I'm like, I love that dress. I love that dress. I love that dress. It was crazy. Like I felt so stupid. So that the visuals are incredible. It's much more, it's not winter, so it doesn't have to just be white snow. There's the leaves and the water, because it deals with earth, fire, water, and wind, air, the four elements.
Okay.
And so those are all represented in this, and when they make it to this enchanted forest, and the way that they do that is incredible. There's this water horse that Elsa rides that, like, I every time it came on the screen, I was like, how is that happening? How am I seeing this? That sort of thing. So like I said, it's the same people who wrote the music for the first one. They have taken it up a notch. It's so wonderful. Everyone has a great song. I told you about Christoph and his song Lost in the Woods. They've made it like it's an 80s song. They show it like it's an 80s video. It cracked me up. Olaf has a funny song. He's also going through it in this one. He's kind of like, what's my purpose? Like, that's the whole thing. And then Christoph, Kristen Bell has talked in every interview that we've watched about Christoph and his character in this, and how lovely it is to see this male character, especially in a Disney movie, be so open about his feelings. And even though I had seen her talk about this a million times, I was still really struck when I first saw it. So his song is great. He's talking about how much he loves her in this whole song. It's just this great ballad that we don't see in these types of movies. But then these other moments that she had talked about in every interview, and she kept saying, there was this one part where he rescues Anna, and then he says, "I'm here, what do you need?" And it really did strike me, because I honestly thought the things that were going to come out of his mouth were going to be, in this moment, I thought he was going to say, "What are you doing? This isn't what you're making a mistake," something like that. I thought he was going to, that really in my head, I thought he was going to yell at her for making the choice that she was making and putting herself in trouble.
Okay.
And instead he just picked her up and he said, "I'm here. What do you need?" And it was just like, it really, it was the opposite of what I think I'm used to in these sorts of movies. So there was something really there.
Well, I think what you're getting at is typically, the prince or Prince Charming
Right.
or whatever shows up and tells the damsel in distress what she needs.
Well, normally it is about, when they make these decisions that aren't the popular decisions, but they're the next right thing to do. And especially like in the first movie, when they first meet, and Christoph's like, Anna, you're marrying someone on the day you met him. Like, that's ridiculous, and he thought how crazy she was. I kind of thought that was going to come back into it, because she was making this very huge decision that was going to put a lot of things at risk. And so I thought he was going to kind of lecture her about that.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is kind of what we're used to, is, the men know what's right, and the women make the wrong decision. Like, that's kind of normal in these sorts of movies. And he just was there for her and just said, "How do I help you?" And then the other thing that Kristen talks about in these interviews was another line that Christoph says when Anna apologizes to him for something, and he says, "It's okay, my love is not fragile." Like, it struck me. I started crying, because I was just like, that is such a line. That's such a line in a rom-com. You know what I mean? That would be a line to take down any movie that I would be like, "Oh my God, I love this movie so much." And I'm watching it in a Disney animated movie, and that line comes out. It was really amazing. Especially when you see it all in context and you understand what's happened. It's such a wonderful line that she just never has to worry, that it's just always going to be there, his love.
Cool.
Anyway, it's fun. It's adventurous. It is so, it's so much more than the first one, in my opinion. And I'm not sure how kids respond to this. Like, I'm sure kids love looking at it. They know all the characters, but there is some deep, deep, deep stuff in this one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of self exploration on everyone's parts. It really is something for the adults.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the music is so good.
Well, that was probably a conscious effort on their part because they know adults are going to have to sit through it so often.
Yeah, I would think so. And, I would also think like kids who were 5, 6, 7 when this came out, are now tweens or teens. And this can also help them too,
Sure.
as long as they go and see it. Because it is about looking inward and what do you really have, and
And that's probably another smart choice by them is the kids that were right in the wheelhouse for the first one saw it. The 5 or 6 year olds saw it when it first came out. They're now, like you said, early teens, whatever. And the movie, the story kind of grew with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
don't
cool.
Again, they'll get more out of it than the younger kids will, but as adults, I mean, it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't
Very
say
cool.
enough about it. So in theaters now, Frozen 2. Go see it. I mean, again. So the 4 are back: Josh Gad, Jonathan Groff, Idina Menzel, and Kristen Bell. But they've also added Evan Rachel Wood plays their mom. She's got a couple songs in it. Sterling K. Brown is in it. He said that a song of his got cut, but I think it would have still been on the album, and it isn't. So I'm not sure if he actually ever sang a song. So there's quite a few. Jason Ritter voices a character in it, so I love that. Oh gosh, here he goes. He's got a great memory of Jason Ritter. So
I'm sorry, I can't hear that name and not think of it. It's
so
just the
yeah.
best. Anyway, sorry.
Jason Ritter was on Drunk History, best Drunk History episode ever.
Yep, probably one of the best episodes of television ever.
So he's in, which is great. There's Martha Plimpton is in. So they've added a lot of new people. They're not huge characters, but great supporting. Great to have more people involved.
Not just cameos; they're recurring throughout the movie. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Good.
so very good, very very good story. Love it.
Good.
Go see it.
Okay. So real quick, I'm just going to throw this out there in case people hear it. I'm going to keep doing it. My throat is kind of bothering me today, so you're going to hear me clearing my throat, and I apologize. But I'm also drinking some very hot coffee too to try to clear it out. So
yeah, just try and move away from the mic as much as possible.
I will.
Okay.
I'm just pointing it out if people hear me clear my throat or
Okay.
good. That's by plan.
Okay. I'm gonna move on. The next movie I saw a couple weeks ago is Terminator: Dark Fate.
And I did not see this one either.
Right. So backstory on Terminator for me. Saw the first one obviously when it first came out. The second one is the best one with Eddie Furlong and everyone else, right? That was the second one, right?
I have no idea. I really
now,
don't remember.
For some reason, I'm like getting confused.
I really don't remember the first one, but the one I liked, I think, was the one that ended with him getting lowered into the vat of melting
that's
metal.
T2. So that's Terminator.
That's the
2.
second one?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I liked.
Right. So that to me was the best one. I loved Linda Hamilton in that, the way when she's in the hospital in the beginning and she's just ripped and and Eddie Furlong was annoying, but I loved the whole story. And Robert Patrick was not Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
Was
You
it
want
Robert
to say
Patrick?
Jason Patrick because I do,
Oh,
and
right,
that's not right. It's Robert.
Yeah, was the other Terminator. Anyway, so that's my favorite. I never saw any past then, and there's been like 4 more. So I never saw any of the others. But this one, because Linda Hamilton was back, I was like, gotta see it. And Mackenzie Davis was in it, and I love her. She was from *Halt and Catch Fire*. Yeah. So my thoughts on this are: it wasn't great as far as story. It wasn't better than T2. I'll tell you that. But because of nostalgia, it was enjoyable.
Okay.
So Mackenzie Davis plays the new protector. She's not really a Terminator. She's been sent from the future to come back and protect this girl named Dani. She is human, but she's enhanced. So at the end of, I don't know when it was, T2 or T3, when Eddie Furlong was actually killed, when the other Terminator, Arnold, was another Terminator, not the one that she melted in T2. He came back and he killed Eddie Furlong. So that,
Okay. Is Eddie Furlong John Connor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So John Connor died. So that whole, they supposedly saved the whole future at the end of T2 and blah, blah, blah. And then when John Connor died, obviously it didn't really matter anymore. I don't know. You got to keep up.
He had already saved the
they
universe.
Had saved the world, but the other Terminator was still programmed to come and kill him. So anyway, so Linda Hamilton's been living this whole life without her son. She's been, very angry, all that sort of thing. So the moment when Mackenzie Davis is trying to get this girl Dani and protect her and all this stuff, and there's a new Terminator out in this new future that's come back to kill this girl, and he's basically indestructible. It's really insane. I mean, we thought, again, we're going back 20 years, but we thought the cool silver metal effects and all that, they were like the top.
Well, they were very cutting edge effects back then, so I can only imagine what they're able to do now.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
But when Linda Hamilton pulls up and she starts killing this guy or trying to kill, it's just like you get chills.
Is her first scene in the movie the one where she pulls up and the pickup gets out and says, get out of the way, I got to kick this ass or something?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What a great arrival in a movie.
Yeah. So there's that. Then there's just a lot of stuff going on where, Mackenzie Davis is saying to the girl Dani, like, we have to save you. And Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, immediately she's like, oh, so you're pregnant too. Like, she's assuming it's kind of like her deal. And so you're pregnant and they have to protect you because you're going to have this son who's going to be the savior, blah, blah, blah. And at first I was like, seriously, is that the story we're going to tell, that a man has to be born to save this? Like, that kind of was pissing me off. But as we go through the thing, they eventually make their way to Arnold, who is the Terminator who actually did kill John Connor. So, of course, Sarah's very angry with him. But he's been living his life trying to make up for that. So, again, he's kind of the nice Terminator now. And so they have to go and they have to figure out a way to kill this new Terminator and let Dani live and blah, blah, blah. Eventually, it comes out that Dani ends up being the head of the Resistance, not a child that she's carrying. So that's nice.
Okay.
But it was fine. It was fine story-wise. There was no reason that I felt like I missed anything in these movies in between. Mm-hmm. Maybe I did. But really, I was watching it for that nostalgia of all of them, of Linda Hamilton and Arnold being together again. I really liked Mackenzie Davis. She's great in everything. Mm-hmm. It was fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're a fan, and I think especially if you're a fan of the second one, I felt fine with it. Good action, a lot of action. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I was like, okay, is this going to end anytime soon? That sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I enjoyed it because of that nostalgia. That was really it for me.
Okay.
I don't think you can keep making these, but what do I know? I thought that 3 ago, so
sure.
So yeah.
Well, if they figure they can, make their money back, they'll keep making. That's what they do nowadays.
Yeah. I don't know if this one did well or not. I haven't even paid attention. So.
Well, I'm sure. So what I think what they're relying on. I don't want to sidetrack the conversation too much, but the overseas on sequels is insane.
Yeah.
So they release it here, and it seems like they almost don't even care what it does here.
Right.
It's the overseas stuff and the international. It seems to make the money, and whatever.
Yeah. So that's it. I think it's still in theaters. But I would say watch it at home.
And I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have to admit, it was kind of cool seeing Linda Hamilton and Arnold.
Yeah.
In the trailer. Together.
Yeah. It just brings back.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, the next movie we're going to talk about is actually a movie from Disney Plus
What?
called Noelle.
Okay. Oh, all great. Here we go.
So I watched this first, and then I kind of forced you to watch it. He's not big on holiday movies.
No. Really not.
But he is big on Anna Kendrick, so I was like, let's just try it. So in this movie is Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. They play Noelle and Nick, who are the children of Santa. And then when Santa dies, Nick is supposed to take Santa's place.
Yeah, inherits the role of Chris
Santa.
Pratt.
Yeah. And Shirley MacLaine is in it as an elf.
Yeah. Kind of their nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the deal, is just Bill Hader is Nick. He's supposed to take over the role of Santa. He doesn't like it. He's not very good at it. And Noelle says, take a break, just take this weekend to go and relax. And he never comes back. And so she has to go find him in Phoenix and try and convince him to come back to the North Pole and to be Santa.
Turns out he went to a yoga retreat in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of it. So, my opinion on this was, 1, you have to really like Christmas movies. 2, you have to love Anna Kendrick to like this movie. That was my opinion on it, because it's all her. It's not that great a story. It's not that different a story, but she's the one for me that pulls me through it. She's funny. She's cute. She's all the things that she needs to be in order to get me through the movie.
I don't think Tom Hanks and Castaway had to carry a movie like this. Because Anna Kendrick, like you said, she was everything.
Yeah, she is everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and even that at times was not enough for me.
Aww.
I know.
I still, because again, at the end, it's heartwarming. I just like, I love Christmas movies. So
that's one of the things you said that jumped out at me, and I'm glad you said that. Yeah, to like this movie, you have to really like Christmas movies. And I'm not a Scrooge. I'm not as much of a Scrooge as I think you think I am. I don't like Christmas movies as much as you do, but you really do need to like Christmas movies to like this one.
Yeah.
And I don't. I'm not at that level. So it really has to kind of stand alone for me, and it really doesn't. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm not mad at you that you made me watch it.
You kept watching it, because we
did.
did do it over a couple days.
Because of Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
And Bill I like Bill Hader.
Yeah.
He just wasn't in it enough.
Right.
But
yeah, okay, so for me, if you love Christmas movies, it is the quintessential Christmas movie. It's very cute. It's very, of course they're telling stories of kind of downtrodden people that, you want to win out. And, the twist is that Noelle ends up having the twinkle. She ends up having the abilities of Santa instead of Bill Hader. And again, they just overlooked the girl, and she had no real role. But she's the one who ends up becoming Santa. And that I like as well, because, there is that twist. And I think I love at the end, as she is doing her thing on Christmas Eve, no one's just like, you can't be Santa. You know what I mean? Like, she goes to this homeless shelter, and everyone just says, Merry Christmas, Santa, Merry Christmas, Santa.
Well,
and that's, it's that sort of feeling of just...
The regular citizens of the world, yes, they're very supportive, and they don't question her being Santa.
Right.
The people in her town and her family are really...
slow to get there.
Yeah. Okay. I was looking for the right phrase.
Yeah.
That's nicer than anything I was going to say.
Yeah. But I like the twist. I like... I really liked it. And there's an adorable little reindeer.
Oh my God, yeah,
cone.
the cutest animated reindeer they're ever.
Yeah, why aren't they selling stuffed snow cones somewhere? Because at like Disney store and stuff, like that would be adorable.
Yeah, its name is Snow Cone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be that'd be
why aren't they doing that?
I'd buy that $25 ornament in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta write to them. Anyway, so that's on Disney Plus. I really enjoyed it. I think it's great. I think it's a great family movie to sit around and watch this Christmas. And you don't have to, well, you have to pay for Disney Plus, but to me it feels like it's free. So,
Well, for you it almost is. Because you got such a good deal.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of movies.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to TV.
Okay.
First show I'm going to talk about, ended a few weeks ago, is Limetown. I talked about this when it started and how great it was in the first couple episodes. So it's 10 episodes, each a half hour long. It's on Facebook Watch, starring Jessica Biel, and Stanley Tucci's in it. And, so anyway, Limetown was based on a podcast. I never listened to the podcast. Now I want to go back and listen to the podcast and just see if anything varied. But anyway, I loved this show. I loved every second of it. It was so well done and so well told because there was this major mystery of this establishment called Limetown of 326 people, and the people disappeared. And no one ever knew what had happened. And it's 15 years later, and Jessica Biel's trying to investigate, and she starts to talk to Limetown survivors in different scenarios and weird things that happen there and what the research was about and why have they been silent for 15 years and all this sort of stuff. It's very well told because they never give you enough until maybe the 6th or 7th episode did we really understand what was happening. Her character, Jessica Biel's character, Leah, is so complex. She wants the story so bad. It doesn't matter what happens. Literally, there's a lot that goes really wrong around her, and she's goes on because she wants the story. It's amazing. It was just really nice to see her type of character, and how the story comes together.
Well, wasn't her father one of the ones?
Her uncle was Stanley Tucci.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
it's very personal for her.
It was. That doesn't really excuse a lot of the stuff that she did to get there.
Well, true.
But so it ended in a way that there can be a second season. I'm perfectly fine with the way it ended because it leaves still so many questions open, and I kind of love that. But they'll probably kind of ruin it and bring back a second season. I don't know. Maybe there's supposed to be a second season, and that's just the way they decided to end this first one. I don't know. But I loved it. I love the way it ended. I love that we still don't really know everything. It was just so good. It was just so good. Dark, twisty. Yeah. I mean, and it was on Facebook Watch. Like, hello. Just there's just good stuff everywhere these days. It's crazy. It's crazy. So go to Facebook Watch. You can watch it on Facebook, obviously, or you can download the Facebook Watch app on any of your streaming devices and watch Limetown. It's literally 5 hours of viewing. You could do it all. I wish I could have done it all in one day. I would have. It killed me that we only got 2 episodes a week. So go back, watch it. It's so worth it. Jessica Biel's so good in it.
Yeah.
She better get nominated somewhere along the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next show I'm going to talk about is called Back to Life. This was on Showtime. There was only 6 episodes of this, half-hour shows. This was created by Daisy Haggard, which you know well. She is an English actress. She was on episodes. She never really had any lines because she just kind of went,
Oh, yeah. Carol.
Was that her name? No, Carol was the main girl.
Oh, yeah. Don't remember.
I don't remember her name, but she just always is what she did all the time. And she was hysterical at that. She actually created this show in England. Showtime just showed it over the last few weeks. And it was really good.
Oh, good.
So the story is her character, Mary, just got out of prison after 18 years for murder.
Sorry. That's just a departure from her character in episodes.
And first off, in England, you don't think about people committing murder so much. You know what I mean? So my first thing was just like, oh, wow, what happened? and she's coming home to this small little seaside town village that she grew up in. This all happened when she was 17 or 18 years old. So she's coming home to live in her parents' home. Everyone in town calls her a murderer. They're graffitiing the house. She tries to get a job. They're throwing bricks in the window where she's working, all that sort of stuff. The town is not accepting her back. Her parents are very weird. Her mother's having an affair with Mary's high school boyfriend. Like, it just, stuff is happening all around her. And she's this, emotionally stunted person whose life kind of ended at 18. And she's now supposed to live the life of a 36, 37-year-old. And she doesn't know what to do. And so it doesn't tell you, again, we go through this journey of these 6 episodes where we aren't really sure what happened. Little bits start to come out, and then we finally find out the whole deal of her best friend was mad at her and got into a fight, and her best friend bit her. She was so angry with her, and Mary kind of pushed her off, and she just fell back and hit her head and died. It wasn't really a violent death, even though people in town were saying she bludgeoned someone to death and all that sort of stuff.
Of course, yeah.
And there's also still a little twist to that we find out at the very end as to, because she keeps going, I don't know why she was so mad at me, and all stuff. So we find out why the friend was mad at her and actually what was going on. So again, 6 half-hour episodes. There is a second season coming. I really, really loved this character because at first you think she's being so dense because she was kind of walking around going, I'm done. Everyone should just be fine and no big deal. And her parents were even, like, her mom even hid the knives from her. And so there's a strange relationship with her parents she had to work through. There's a new neighbor that wasn't in the town back then, so he didn't know anything about her. So she befriends him. So there's just, it's one of those great shows where there's a lot going on with all these little characters. They all kind of have their own story, but it all comes back to her. And so it was just enjoyable. It's that typical English, very heavy subjects, but funny,
Sure.
that sort of thing. And
yeah, they make anything funny.
they do.
Yeah.
And it was really well done. I really enjoyed it. So I'm sure you can go on Showtime still and watch it on demand. It's called Back to Life.
Okay.
And it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Well, it sounds like season 2, there are a lot of places it can go. So,
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. It's interesting. Okay. Next show I'm going to talk about is the latest American Horror Story, which was called 1984. This season wasn't one of my favorites. It was fun at times. So it took place at a camp. It was kind of like based off of all the 80s horror movies where the kids go away to camp and then there's a serial killer. There were twists and turns. I'm not really going to get into a lot of it. Most of the characters ended up living on as ghosts at the camp, and there's all this stuff going on. But by the end, there was this kind of sweet wrapping it all together thing. It was a long way to go for me for the season. It like, actually, when I was putting my list together, I was just like, what happened this season again? Like, I had to remind myself of what was going on in the middle. It felt like it went off on places and then they were like, no, I don't think we're going to keep doing that. Let's come back to this. It was a little fractured. Great people in it, of course. Everyone in American Horror Story is always great. Love seeing everyone back in these shows. But this one felt a little disjointed, and it took a long time to get there.
So how many seasons of this has there been now?
Oy.
5, 6?
Oh no, I think there's like 9.
9. So where would you rank this one in those?
In the middle.
Okay.
But there have been a few that there's 2 or 3 seasons I didn't watch because the opening scenes were so gory. I was like, no, I don't need to do this. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first season is still the best, and then I loved Coven and I loved The Asylum, and there's been some really good ones. This one, I would say it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as the season before this, for sure.
Okay.
But again, it was fun, with the 80s and the music and the hair and all that. That was fun. It fell apart in the middle a little bit for me.
I did see ads for it, and it did look familiar.
Yeah.
Right, because of the the camp and stuff,
Yeah.
the Jason and
Right.
stuff,
Yep. Yeah. And that was fun. And then there were twists that, kept it going. But they just didn't feel like enough for me.
Yeah.
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 So
Sometimes it happens.
no big deal.
Darn-
Yeah.
darn the
Exactly.
bad luck.
We'll try the next one. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is a new special on Netflix
What?
from Mike Birbiglia.
Yep.
I got it.
Yep.
Called The New One. So this was a show that Mike Birbiglia did in New York on Broadway. And actually he's here in LA doing this, I think, for the next couple weeks. Sorry. And Netflix taped it while in Broadway and they just put it up a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it. I was sitting down to watch it last night and you came in about 3 minutes in and you got sucked in too.
And full disclosure, because it's playing in town here, you were contemplating going.
Yeah, and then I found out Netflix was doing
Right.
this. I was like, well, why am I going to pay money?
Yeah, so you were actually interested enough in this to almost go.
Right.
So this is, kind of a huge bonus for you.
Yeah, because I'd heard great things, and I really like him. And so I was excited to watch this.
Do I know him from anything other than Trainwreck?
You probably don't. No, he had another movie. Oh, crap. I'm going to forget. That was all about, like, improv, and Keegan-Michael Key was in it, and a bunch of other people. But
Okay.
yeah, you wouldn't have known it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this whole special, he basically talks about not wanting kids and then having a kid. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
But go ahead. You
Well, okay, so I was trying to debate what to do with the rest of my day yesterday and came in and we had a small back and forth and I saw this was on. You had paused it. And it didn't look... He was on James Corden like the
Right.
night before earlier this week.
Yeah.
And he was funny, but I didn't see what the fuss is about. So I thought, well, I can miss this.
Yeah.
So I was going to go do something else. And then you started playing it before I left. And it was initially funny enough to me that I kind of stayed. And I'm going to say I got sucked in.
Yeah.
Because it did.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I'm not really familiar with this guy. He's funny. He was, the first, it was like an hour and 15 minutes or something like that. So the first half hour to me was really good, was very, very funny. Kind of, and I hate to say it this way, spoiler alert, they have a kid.
Yeah.
Kind of about the time they had the kid
Yeah.
is when it changed for me and got less funny.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, and I was really disappointed because the first half hour was...
I would say it was
Very-
longer than that. I'd say it was probably the first half,
Call it the
45
first
minutes.
half. That's fine.
45 minutes. Yeah. It was the way he was describing
Yeah.
how he didn't want kids and all his reasons for that. That was all really funny.
And the interactions between he and his wife and his personal
Ailments.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
And it was so, I hate to say it, it was just so disappointing how it finished up to me.
Yeah. Look, first off, I kept trying to tell myself this isn't a typical stand-up because to be on Broadway, you have to tell a full story and you have to kind of bring it somewhere and you have to, it can't be just joke. You have to bring it around. Right. So,
Sure.
and there were times still in that moments that I thought was funny, but it never felt like it came back to me to the point where he was like, I'm so happy I have this kid.
Right.
He complained. And then the very last, 3 sentences were, and then I felt full, but it was like up until that moment, he was still so miserable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was and not in a funny way. It really felt very, overwhelming.
Well, here's the problem.
Maybe
for
it
me.
got too real.
Well, so that's kind
what
of
it
where I'm
was.
going with this. This is the problem for me. The first half was joke, warm moment, and then something deep.
Yeah.
And then joke. And which, when you're watching a stand-up or a comedy, that's kind of, I can live with that because the warm and the serious little sentence or note or whatever, if it's done right, right, if it's very poignant or something like that, I'm perfectly fine with that added. And a lot of times that adds a missing element. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
The first half of his special was that way.
Yeah.
The second half seemed to be serious,
Yeah.
poignant,
Right.
serious, shocking joke.
Right.
It flipped.
Yeah.
And became much more of the show part.
Right.
Which I understand and I get it. It's just I think they could have done a better balance. Because it became too much.
It took too long to get to the arc for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like him. I really enjoy his delivery. I really enjoy, especially that first half, the way he was telling the story. It did get a little jumbled in the second half with the kid being there. Mm-hmm. I would still recommend this to people. And here's why. Because it's hard for me, because I don't have kids, to relate. So I think, because this has happened to me with other things where I've been like, that was annoying with that, like the movie Tully. People who have children loved that movie. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get it entirely. Mm-hmm. So it was middle of the ground for me. I think people who have kids and have gone through that transition of that first year and a half, especially men who have felt so distant from the bond between the wife and the baby, mm-hmm. I think they will all really enjoy that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, so I'm going to approach this from a slightly different angle and look at it this way. We have a very recent comparison we can make because we watched Seth Meyers stand up 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Which was all about, which ended up, it was Lobby Baby, which was the birth of his child, his wife. And so it was very relatable. It was very similar in my mind. That was pure stand-up. When you set the bar for this, if you go into this knowing that, okay, it's a Broadway show, it's a comedic show. It's not really a stand-up. If you just remember that and retain that and go into it with that, I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, you think of 700 Sundays, the Billy Crystal Broadway show he did. That's that same thing. You want to tell a full story and all that. Now, you can't compare the two because Billy Crystal's was genius. But yeah, I mean, if you compare it to Seth Meyers, I got so much more out of Seth Meyers because it was really about his relationship with his wife. It really didn't have much to do with being a parent. Mm-hmm. This had so much to do with that transition into being a parent that for me, that's what I was thinking while we were watching. I was like, I'm obviously not getting this because I don't have kids.
Right, but everything in Seth Meyers was a setup for a joke.
Yes, yeah.
Which is stand-up, right?
Right.
And this was not setting things up for a joke. This was relaying a personal
story, right?
This was furthering the story,
right?
Without there always being a joke at the end of it,
right?
So you just keep that in mind.
I do think that people who are parents will find that second half funnier or more relatable than I could.
Yeah, probably. Maybe.
So I'm just going to, leave it there and say, I still think it's totally worth watching.
Sure.
I think people should check it out. It's on Netflix. It's easy. It's Mike Birbiglia, the new one.
Yep.
And, let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now I just want to talk about Disney Plus a little bit.
Okay.
And just kind of talk about the things I'm watching on there. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about them, but the things that I'm enjoying so that if you don't have Disney Plus, you will go get it. First off, just the array of everything that's on there is incredible. Not just the new original things, all the movies, the classic movies that were in the Disney Vault, the new movies through Marvel Endgame is on there. You can watch Steamboat Willie, the original Steamboat Mickey, you can watch any of those cartoons, anything. Now they have definitely catered more to the millennial side where all the Disney Channel shows are things that were on in the 2000s and even the 90s, but not as much of the stuff that I wish were on there. But they're still saying they're going to release more content.
Yeah, I bet they add it.
Yeah. So there's never I flip through. Sometimes I get overwhelmed. I don't know what I should watch first. It's just like there's so much on there, and it's so wonderful.
There literally is something for everyone. I can go through Netflix or Hulu, sometimes Amazon Prime,
right,
and not find something that interests me.
Right.
And Disney Plus, going through it, I don't get very many rows down before there's something that catches me,
right,
that I want to see.
Right. Because there's old movies that you haven't thought of in a while. And these aren't just all animated movies.
Right.
Turner and Hooch is on there. And, like there's just, it's incredible. It really is incredible to go through and just try and find anytime you need something to watch, just go to Disney Plus. There will be something.
And the stuff that really interests me, I don't watch a lot of television, as you know. And there is a lot of documentaries and behind the scenes shows, like series, like they'll release an episode or two of a 50 episode, what's projected to be a 50 episode show of behind the scenes of Disneyland or Disney World or Disney, and then the next week there'll be another episode released.
We're getting to that.
Oh, sorry.
That's the original stuff I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
But speaking of documentaries, we have watched a couple. We watched one called Awaking Sleeping Beauty, which is a behind-the-scenes documentary about the animation artists during the 80s and 90s, the transition after Walt died and, Roy taking over and then Michael Eisner coming in. And so it was very interesting because it's a completely different story that then we get in the Imagineering story, which is an original show we're watching as well. So moving on to the originals that are up. One is called The Imagineering Story.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
So every week they are releasing an episode. And this is all about, it starts with Walt, his dream of Disneyland, building Disneyland. And the next one was building Magic Kingdom into Epcot. And then the next one was Euro Disney, and it's all about the Imagineers and their kind of start, and how that whole Imagineering department has transitioned.
Yeah, it's really focused on his working with and management and interactions with the Imagineers. How that group, that engineering group, kind of started and grew up. Right.
Yeah. So I think we've had 3 episodes. There should be a 4th one up today.
Woohoo.
All of these originals, the new episodes come out every Friday. I don't know how many episodes there are going to be in any of these. One thing that does come out this week, which is what you were talking about, is called One Day. And it's a weekly 52 episodes. It's just going to be probably a 5 or 10 minute episode of one person, one cast member at any of the Disney parks or any of the Disney departments, following them around and how they spend their day. And so every week we're going to get a different look at a cast member and how they work, which is going to be really cool. The biggest original I think everyone knows about is The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau producing. He directed the first episode. Again, I think we have 3 or 4 3 out so far. And this is an amazing show. It's obviously a Star Wars show. It takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And it's gorgeous to look at. Amazing to look at. Everyone has heard of Baby Yoda now, which is just the cutest thing ever in the world. Which is not Baby Yoda. It's, people are out there going, did Yoda have a kid? And, all this sort of stuff. And it's possible. Maybe it is Yoda's child. We don't know anything else about Yoda's species.
Well,
we don't know anything about anything.
Call it Baby Yoda because you don't know what else to call it, but it's really just an infant of whatever species Yoda is.
Yeah. Everyone's like, should I call him Kevin? You know what I mean? So, so anyway,
Steve,
amazing show. Really good story about this Mandalorian, which is a bounty hunter like Boba Fett. And he was commissioned to find this Baby Yoda and turn him over to someone from the Empire, and he's rescued him now. And what's going to happen next? Who knows? But it's a really amazing show, and so much money has been put into this. It's crazy, but it looks good, and it's taking the place until a month from now when the new Star Wars comes out. So we're good. My favorite original show that they have out is called Encore. This is the Kristen Bell show, where every week they are revisiting a musical that was put on in high school. They're getting the group back together. So if they graduated 10 years prior or 40 years prior, this group comes back and they perform the musical that they performed in high school. And the reason I love it is, one, I cry through every single episode. I cry through the whole thing because it's amazing to be able to, one, go back and revisit the people that you had a special time with, because rehearsing for a show and putting a show on, you do develop relationships with those people. But there's always these stories of, I didn't let myself fully, become friends with you, or I didn't do this in high school. And these people who now come out and say, I'm sorry, I should have done this, or I was this, or whatever it is. Everyone suffers through high school. It's the worst time in life. And for me, the theater department was where all these misfits kind of came together and they found some place that they belonged. And it's the most beautiful thing, because that is still theater today. That is where you go, and it doesn't matter what you're doing during the week, because when you go to your theater group or you go to whatever, you're accepted. Theater always accepts everyone. And that is a running theme in every single episode. Even if it's the homecoming queen who did the musical, she still was accepted as part of the theater group, and it didn't matter. So it's a beautiful show. They only have 6 days to put on this musical that they did however long ago.
Right.
So it's very stressful, but they do it and it's fun and they love it. And some of these people who say, I never did theater again after that, and now I remember how much I loved it. And you hope that these people are going to go find their community theater, find something to do to express that part of themselves again.
Yep.
So you did see the last one.
I've seen one episode and really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's so good. And I'm I really hope that they continue, because I know Kristen Bell did this a couple years ago that they did all of these, and it was supposed to be on another channel, and they aired one of these on some other channel at the time, because I remember watching it, and then I never knew what happened to it. So Disney obviously got it. I hope they continue to do this, and that they're not just kind of, well, we bought this old thing from a couple years ago and now we're gonna do it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I have to believe. I mean, I don't know. Obviously I don't know. But the episode I saw was very interesting and very moving, and all the stuff you like to feel from watching a show. Yeah. Or the stuff I like to feel anyway. Right. So if they didn't further it, if they didn't pick it up and make at least another season of it, fresh, I think it's a mistake. Right. It can't be that expensive to put on. Right. So I would think it would help offset The Mandalorian, which has got to cost, which is probably $10 million an episode or something crazy. But, it was very enjoyable. Yeah. And I hope they do. I do too. Do more. I hope so too. And I'll watch it again. Yeah. Good. Of course, also the other series everyone knows about is High School Musical, the series. I'm really enjoying this show. I love the movies. This is kind of a meta weird thing where the school where the movie was actually filmed at, these are the kids going to that school, quote unquote, and they're doing the musical based on the movie. So it's it's very, it's great. But these kids are really talented. I'm having a lot of fun. It's a fun little episode or show, and the way they're doing it is really interesting. So is it a fictional show? It is. Okay. It's a fictional show, but in their world, they know Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens did this High School Musical movie. Okay. And so they're doing a musical of the movie at the school where the movie actually filmed. But it doesn't matter. It's very enjoyable. It's funny. It's cute. These kids are very talented. The drama teacher is hysterical. She's really crazy and it's funny. So it's enjoyable. I really like it. Okay, cool. And then the other show we're watching is The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Yes. What more is there to say? He just he just picks a topic. The first one was sneakers. The second one was ice cream. And he just kind of dives into it and
figures out the history of it or talks to people and what it is in pop culture and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's very quintessential Goldblum.
Totally.
If you love him,
right,
or even if you love him, you're going to love this. If you like him, you're probably going to like him more after watching this.
Yeah. If you don't like him,
if you don't like
it.
him, you're probably going to dislike him even more.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be it's so him that it's just going to strengthen whatever you feel about him.
Right.
But we happen to love him. Yep. And it's just
great.
It's really great.
But it also is really informational and,
yeah.
I mean, so it's interesting. And again, they're only like a half hour, so it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I'm going to talk about on Disney Plus is the shorts. You have to take an hour and you can cut out 10 of them in an hour. You have to sit and go watch all of the shorts. They are the most amazing little stories. If you have, so there's Bao, which
have you watched that one
I
yet?
have not rewatched Bao because it's so heartrbreaking. Lava is so adorable that I walk around singing.
I heard you watch that again yesterday.
Of course, Pearl is my favorite. There's what else? There's just so many. I mean, there's so many.
And these are the things.
Float.
A lot of them are if you go to a Disney movie. Yeah. During the trailers, previews before the movie starts, they'll have a short.
Yeah.
And these are those.
Yeah.
And I forget what we saw.
Incredibles was Bao.
Is that where Bao was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Incredibles 2. Bao was the short, and it's animated and it's like 5 minutes long, but it wrecked both of us.
Yeah. Well, that's how Float is. If that's the first one you should go watch. The little boy floats and the father. And I was a mess.
Yes.
Absolute mess.
Yes, you were.
The fact that these people in 6-7 minutes can get you to love a character and get you so invested that you can be such a mess. They're amazing. These people who do these shorts are just amazing. And the fact that now they're on Disney Plus and we can just sit there and watch them, because there are a few that I keep watching over.
Pearl is
the best.
Pearl is nothing more than a short. It's a 6-minute short. And at one of the Disney stores at Disneyland, there was something with her. I forget.
Was?
Yeah, I forget what it was.
I would have bought it.
I don't remember what it was. It was a keychain or something. It wasn't a major thing. But, I mean, that tells you that she's popular enough to make something out of.
We have ears with Pearl on it.
We do.
Yeah.
Parkaccessories.com.
So anyway, that's most of everything with Disney Plus. I just wanted to touch on that and make sure that, we're good to go and that you understand why it's worth the money. It is so, and again, even at $7 a month, or it's $5, I don't even know if it's $6 a month, whatever it is, it's worth it for sure. I
think retail is $6.99 a month.
Yeah, I don't know. But
it's
that's super cheap for all the stuff you're getting.
And there are so many incentives out there that you can still get, that you won't have to pay $6.99 a month.
It's every Disney movie you can think of, Pixar, Marvel, National Geographic shows and documentaries. It's just get it. Period.
Yeah, and if you're like me and you don't watch a lot of series or movies or Disney movies, whatever, there's enough original content, documentary style content, behind the scenes content that you'll get your money's worth.
Right. But also even, there's a lot of old movies that I saw as a child that I don't remember, like Snow White or Sleeping Beauty or whatever, that I'm looking forward to now being able to go and watch those. Yeah. And be like, okay, now I can say I saw it.
And they have the remastered Fantasia.
Yes.
And which I've never seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen the original. Now it's remastered. It's done up a little bit better. And I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, and they have an entire section of all these movies that are in 4K as well. So if you have a 4K television, you're going to get to see all of these amazing movies in 4K.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Disney Plus, get it. Period. Real quick, it's mid-season, so I just wanted to touch on the new shows from this season that I still love. And at this point... I would be very upset if these shows got canceled.
Okay.
So, first one is The Unicorn. Did not see this show coming. It's on CBS, so that, number one, is the surprise to me. Walter Goggins, whatever his name is. It's a great show. Every episode is funny because of all of his friends around him, Michaela Watkins and Rob Corddry, and all of his friends around him are funny. He's funny. He's the unicorn because he's widowed and he has these children and blah, blah, blah. But then there's always these heartwarming moments of being with his daughters, remembering his wife, that sort of thing. And he's trying to date again and all that. I'm as shocked as I could be that I love this show as much as I do. But the next day, it's the first thing I watch. So loving that show. Second is Prodigal Son on Fox. Still loving this show. I'm a little sad because Michael Sheen has not been in the last few episodes. That's bothering me. I hope he comes back for a bigger role. I hope they didn't just suck us in. But outside of that, the story that they're telling, he was the serial killer father, and now the son is, the story they're telling is really cool, and I love the way they're telling it. So I'm just all into that. Okay. And the third is Nancy Drew. It's so cool. It's so much fun. Like there's ghosts everywhere and the mysteries and all the people in the town. It's so interesting and I'm so in it. Yeah. And I really, really love the girl playing Nancy Drew. I again, these are not the three at the beginning of the season that I would have thought I would have like clasped?
Sure. We'll go with it.
Okay.
Latched maybe.
Onto. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I have, because there are the others, Perfect Harmony and Almost Family. I think they're running Almost Family out. I mean, they aired an episode on Thanksgiving night, so they're getting rid of that. But these three, if I found out they got canceled, I would be bummed for sure.
And what channel is Nancy Drew?
CW.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all your shows right now that you're listing are network shows.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, yeah, because that's all I'm talking about is the actual quote unquote TV season that's fall to summer,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Jesus.
Mike is attacking him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who put this thing here?
So that's that. Let's move on to Kristen Bell and Actors Corner.
All right, fine.
Okay. You go first.
Holy smokes.
Movies you love.
Hold on. I got to open
Let's go. I wasted an hour and 4 minutes. People need to hear.
Well, people know to be disappointed. All right. So Kristen Bell, movie or TV series I love. I got it down to 3.
Okay?
Yeah. Obviously The Good Place.
Yes.
Just about the favorite show.
That's on mine too.
Yeah.
That's just, again, we've talked about it. It is just, it's got to be probably for me in the top. It's definitely in the top 10 sitcoms of all time. It could be in my top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
We're only getting 4 seasons. That's all you're going to get. But it's the best and best cast.
Yeah. I'm 100% with that assessment. Yeah. It really is. It's just a magical combination of people.
Right.
Done in a really good way with some of the best writing ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm now knowing it's coming to an end. Every episode we watch, we're so nervous because we're just like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Okay.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay.
And The Boss.
Okay.
Actually, with Melissa McCarthy.
So neither one of those made my list, but they are in my honorable mentions, of course.
Sure.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall is an absolute classic.
I mean, we share a lot of Kristen Bell, but I think there's stuff that she's done that is more in your wheelhouse than mine.
Yeah.
So I know what's coming.
Yeah. Both those movies, The Boss too. I mean, her and Melissa McCarthy was just magic.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so on mine, movies I love or whatever, Good Place, Reefer Madness. If you guys have not seen Reefer Madness, it's a musical based on the old 1930s Reefer Madness movie. It was a stage show first. She was on the stage show first, and then they made a movie out of it, so she did that. This was the first time I saw Kristen Bell sing, and it's just, all in all, it's a great musical. I love it, and she's just great in it.
Mm-hmm.
Your phone is causing interference. Okay. So Good Place, Reefer Madness, and then her other show, House of Lies, with Don Cheadle.
Yes.
one of my favorite shows. I think it was Showtime. Just one of my favorite shows ever. Again, great show, great cast. And it was a departure for her because she was a, power bitch, and like she went for it and she did whatever. That was the point of the show, was they all went for it, and she was one of them, and I loved seeing her in that. It was great. Yeah. Okay, movies you like?
Got it down to 2.
Okay.
Bad Moms.
Yep.
And I think probably maybe Bad Moms Christmas.
Okay.
And When in Rome.
Okay. Both those, or all 3 of those, are on my like list as well. Bad Moms, both of them classics already in my mind. The 3 of those, Catherine Hahn and Mila Kunis, I just can't. And I watch both the original and Christmas all the time.
Yeah, whenever they're on.
Yeah. And When in Rome is the same way. I have to stop and watch it if it's on. It's just, Josh and her and all the guys in it. So funny.
Sure.
So I have those 2 plus Frozen.
Okay.
Which, now is it's both of them, Frozen and Frozen 2. But like I said, I like Frozen 2 better.
Sure.
Okay. Movies you hate?
Get Him to the Greek. Yeah, I wanted to like it. I don't mind Russell Brand. I like Jonah Hill. And her character was Sarah Marshall.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, the movie just did not.
See, I saw it, but when I saw it on this list, I was like, who was she in that? Like, I didn't remember. I guess I don't even really remember the movie. So.
Yeah, she wasn't in it a lot.
Okay.
But it's the one thing that she's been in that I don't like.
Okay.
So I went with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to put down here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
All right. Secretly Love.
Couples Retreat.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it didn't make my list. It's an honorable mention, but classic.
Yeah. I mean, it's
her and Jason Bateman are that was really good casting.
Oh yeah.
Because I really like them together.
Yeah. I just, when you had me watch it the first time, I was like, okay. And whenever it's on, you'll watch. If it's on, you'll stop.
It, yeah.
And it's one of those that I can go past. But if I watch, 3 minutes, I'll get sucked in. And I just, I make a big stink about it. Like, I don't want to watch this. But I do secretly.
Yeah. Well, for me, Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So my Secretly Love, You Again. Ugh, cracks me up. So funny.
Oh, with
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. Okay. Sigourney Weaver.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Veronica Mars. I love that character. She's it's just great. And this latest season that we got that was just on Hulu was such a good season, and I hope we get more because I don't want it to end the way it ended. So I hope we really get more.
Well, and that's the role that put her on the map.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And Gossip Girl. And so she was just the narrator. She was never on camera. But Gossip Girl wouldn't be what it is without her narrating. It was the character of the show. She was Gossip Girl as far as we were concerned. And they are rebooting the show, which I'm on the fence with because I love the original so much. But they are smart enough to bring her back as the narrator because it wouldn't be the same without that voice.
Yeah, I saw that this morning that she's listed as the narrator.
Yeah. So they're smart to know that it was that her contribution was really huge, and that's why I had to list it here. Okay, haven't seen. Embarrassed you haven't seen?
Veronica Mars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd like it. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's the role that put her on the map.
Yeah.
I know you love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
And I have to believe I'm kind of missing something. So
I probably wouldn't force you to go back and watch the original 3 seasons. I think if you started with the movie, which, the fans funded a movie, because at that point they're out of school for like 10 years. Like, I don't think you'd go back and I'd have you go back and watch them in high school. But the movie and then this latest season, I think you might enjoy.
I think I actually caught part of an episode or came in on the movie or something when you were watching it.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, something about her seeing a murder or somebody getting beaten up in an opposite building or something.
She's a private investigator.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it's always around.
Yeah.
I don't have anything that I haven't seen. I watch anything she's in.
Yeah.
Anything to add to your watch list?
House of Lies.
You would love it.
I know.
I've been telling you this since day one.
I know. And I did watch, I think, the first 2 episodes. I think you had me watch.
How can you watch the first episode and not just get sucked into it? It's such a good first episode.
I'm really good at that.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, I've watched, it's well documented. I've watched the first episode of a lot of things and never thought about it again.
Yeah.
But
Fleabag.
Yeah. And this I like. I mean, I like the people. I like Don Cheadle. I like her.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a little surprised I didn't stick with it, but I'd like to give it another shot.
Okay. My honorable mentions, you talked about a couple of them, Sarah Marshall, Couples Retreat, Burlesque.
Yeah.
The only thing I hated about her character in Burlesque, even though she was the mean girl, was that she didn't get to sing. It made me so angry when it came out, but you know, and I know people hate the movie Burlesque. I love the movie Burlesque, so screw you.
I like the movie Burlesque, and probably the reason, I mean, yeah, she could have sang, but I mean, it's Christina Aguilera.
Yeah. And look, people want to skew her. Watch it. She's actually good in it.
Who?
Christina Aguilera.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, if I was Kristen Bell, I'm not sure I'd want to sing.
Oh, well, she's
got she's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
No, there's no comparison. Yeah.
It's just Christina Aguilera is like one of the top 3 voices of our time, probably.
Right. Yeah. There's this other little movie called The Lifeguard that she was in that I loved. She was this, you know, chick like 30 and came home to her hometown and had to be a lifeguard and just downtrodden, and then started up this affair with this young kid. And it was just one of those movies that was like at the time, that time of your life movie, you know, like 30-year crisis type thing. And, you know, I liked it. Her character on Parks and Rec was a lot of fun. So those episodes she was always on were really funny.
Sure.
I had The Boss on here. And then Like Father, that latest Netflix movie with her and Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked that movie. I watched it a couple times. And as much as I don't like Kelsey Grammer, I really enjoyed the movie. So
I remember starting it. I don't remember what ending it.
Yeah, we watched it.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've lost it for Kelsey Grammer too, but I remember liking the movie.
Yeah, it's a very sweet father-daughter movie.
Yeah.
And funny. And Seth Rogen, his wife wrote it. Seth Rogen's wife wrote that movie.
Okay.
And, yeah,
that's right.
So, yeah. So that's it. We went really long today, but that's what happens when we take a few weeks off. So hopefully, you know, everything's ending right now because the seasons are mid-season. Things won't be back until January, so I don't know how much I'm gonna have to talk about, so we'll see when we'll be back.
Okay. Well, if you're still listening, thank you.
Yes, thank you, and we will be back hopefully next week, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see you when we see you.
All right, until then, I'll be watching my stories.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, bye.